Lone Star Gun Rights here. We're on our way to go interview a local Texas gun shop owner, Michael Cargill with Central Texas Gun Works, who's been directly affected by Operation Choke Point. Operation Choke Point is the government's backdoor attempt to dismantle your Second Amendment rights. So Michael, what is Operation Choke Point? Just a quick summarization.
Operation Choke Point is something by the Department of Justice where they actually are trying to put pressure on the financial institutions, the banking systems, to actually not do business with anyone that deals in what they call high interest or high industries. So such as like firearms, pornography, things of that nature. So.
All right, now, when did you discover you were choked by Operation Choke Point, and how has this affected you?
Well, it affected us on Monday, and what happened was our customers actually gave us a call and said, hey, we're having problems completing a transaction on your website. Now keep in mind, we actually have 4 different types of websites that we do transactions with. And this particular website only handles classes.
Yeah. So
it's only for beginning handgun classes, concealed handgun classes, private security courses that are mandated by the state of Texas, and private one-on-one classes. So it's for someone that wants to sign up and take a class. It wasn't for firearm sales. It's not for ammunition, just classes. So those customers were having problems signing up for our class, and they gave us a call. We tried to help them, and we realized that there was a problem with the website. So we actually started troubleshooting, and we were troubleshooting with another company. And then actually 24 hours later, the next day, we found out that our services were actually terminated because we're a gun store. And their terms of service says that, you know, if you actually sell firearms, you sell weapons, is actually what it says. You know, but that website didn't have anything to do with weapons. It actually just sold, you know, classes. So.
Now, has your shop been unfairly treated before in the past?
Yeah, we've had a similar problem with another merchant services company called BitPay. And what BitPay does, they actually handle Bitcoin and the transaction of sales of Bitcoin to cash for merchants. And so we actually had a problem with them last year where they did the same thing. They actually cut our services out without any warning, no notice whatsoever, and just, you know, cancel our account. And you know, and it's the same thing. We are in a heavily regulated industry. I'm an FFL. Not only am I an FFL, you know, and I have a federal firearms license, I'm also an NFA dealer, which means I have an SOT, which means that I have to get, you know, I go through a certification every single year. I have to recertify. Every 3 years I have to recertify for my FFL, and then, you know, being a training school, I have to get certification every single year for that. You know, so we're heavily regulated, and I have to pay several fees and different little fees just to be able to function as a business, you know, legally, and go through several background checks. So when someone actually targets this industry, we're so heavily regulated, it makes no sense. I can tell you when any of my employees get a speeding ticket, you know, we're so heavily regulated. So, you know, it's really uncalled for, and we have to, at any given time, the ATF or the FBI can walk in and can inspect me and go through all my records with no notice whatsoever. So we have to keep our stuff, you know, ship shape. And that's happened before where we've had an inspection, very short notice. They walked in, started inspecting, and that's something to expect. You know, we have nothing to hide here, and we abide by the law. No other company can handle that. No other industry. You let any government agency walk into a grocery store, you let them walk into a gas station and inspect their books, their records, they would have a heart attack. But we are expected to be able to do that, and that's what we do. So there's no reason for anyone to not do business with a gun store whatsoever.
Yeah. Now, do you think this is retaliation from speaking out against Police Chief Art Acevedo?
I think this is probably going to be retaliation for being a person that's outspoken altogether. And, you know, they can't get me by having the Texas Workforce Commission come in to inspect me. They can't get me by having the the ATF come in and inspect me. You know, I've had several different agencies walk in and inspect our records, so they can't get me that way. So well, then let's go after the money and try to cut down their credit card services. You know, try to take that away, because if you do that, a lot of people are actually doing business by credit cards nowadays. So if I tell my customers only cash, that's actually gonna cut those people away, and I'm gonna kill myself, literally.
Yeah.
So I have to be able to accept credit cards, and that puts us in a spot too, because here we are. If I tell people I'm only taking cash, and someone walks in and only pays cash for something, for an item, then we're expected to look at that person and think something suspicious of them, because they're only willing to pay cash for it and not credit card or debit card. And here we have the government, the DOJ, forcing financial institutions to put pressure on those institutions to not do business with us, and force us to charge people for and make them pay cash.
So you guys got everything situated real quick, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And what we did now was immediately I realized that my website, so we realized that it wasn't being able to do those transactions. So we made a transition. We switched to a different processor within a couple of hours, and we got that rectified, and got our customers going back up.
Do you think this will be a problem in the future? Do you think you can get choked out again by then?
Honestly, what I do is I never put all my eggs in one basket. So I have different fallback plans. I have 3 different processors that I go through, so when this does happen, I can roll over to something else. And I never, for the firearm sales, I'm very picky in who I deal with firearms, as far as the handling the transactions and stuff like that. So if I have to pay a little more, then I guess we'll have to pay a little more, for those services. But we have to be able to process credit cards.
How do you think this problem can be solved?
Honestly, people need to vote. People need to vote and pay attention to who's in office. I'm actually reaching out to my senator, Senator John Cornyn. I'm reaching out to Senator Ted Cruz, the 2 senators here in Texas, and say, hey, we have an issue. There's a problem here with this, and we need to take a look into it. And keep in mind, yes, credit card companies, they can do business with whoever they want to do business with. They can choose to not do business with gun stores. That's fine. But the federal government should not be putting pressure on them to not do business with gun stores or the firearms industry.
So, Michael, do you think this is a backdoor attempt to choke off the Second Amendment?
Yes, I think this current administration actually has made an attempt to come after the guns themselves and been very unsuccessful. Made an attempt to come after the ammunition and been very unsuccessful. And now they're making an attempt to, well, let's follow the money and just target the money, and just go straight for that. And we're able to adapt. We're going to adapt. We're going to overcome. If that means that the gun owners would have to come up with their own credit card processors, then that's what we're going to do. Because we're not going to do business with anyone that doesn't want to do business with us. And we're here to stay. This country was founded on the Second Amendment. It's not about a need. It's not about needing anything. It's not called the Bill of Needs. It's called the Bill of Rights.